This is Pete Hines from Bethesda, and we're here in our booth talking about Dishonored 2.
So what were the goals heading into this new game?
I think it was a mix of trying to sort of build on something familiar while expanding and building on things that we had already done. So adding a new protagonist gives us the ability to give you a second character to play as with all new abilities. Moving to a new location kind of helps it feel fresh and different. Doing a lot of themed levels allows us to add a lot more variety so that even when you're playing with powers you might remember, you're doing it in environments and places that are very different and have their own challenges and abilities, like the Clockwork Mansion, where walls and floors that are shifting all around you as you're playing. So, you know, trying to give stuff to build on folks that are used to Dishonored, giving them new things, but at the same time, you know, building on an aspect of familiarity and all the things that made Dishonored the game of the year in 2012.
Can you talk about the bigger landscape, the environment people are exploring in this game?
Yeah, so the game, Dishonored 2 starts in Dunwall, which is where Dishonored took place, but then the rest of the game takes place in Karnaca, which is down to the south, and it's got a much more Mediterranean feel. It's a lot brighter and more colorful. Dunwall was kind of gray and depressing, you know, it was under a rat plague, and we kind of wanted to feel that way. This is going to feel much more vibrant, and then the environment you're going to play is going to be a whole host. So you'll be in, you know, a Clockwork Mansion, and the next mission you might be outside in giant vertical areas, big streets where you can move not only in any direction you want, but a lot of verticality going up and over buildings. It's something that we've added a lot more to this time around. So really going to see a diverse a number of environments, both interior and exterior.
Can you talk about the new protagonist and what they open up gameplay-wise?
Sure. So in Dishonored, you play as Corvo Attano, who's the royal protector, and you spend much of the game trying to sort of avenge the murder of the Empress and rescue her daughter, who happens to also be your daughter, it turns out. And in the second game, it's 15 years on, and now Emily has been on the throne, and you're still both her father and protector. And about 20-30 minutes into the game, you have a choice to make whether you want to play as Corvo or as Emily. They both have completely unique sets of powers, and you can play either ultra-violent or super stealthy or any way you want as either character. So it offers both replayability as well as, you know, a different approach to each game. Whereas Corvo can summon a swarm of rats like he could in the Dishonored, Emily has different abilities. Like she has a shadow walk ability where she turns into this sort of smoky, stealthy creature that can kind of get through shadows and get up to characters unnoticed really quickly. So they each have different approaches to similar situations, and then they can both choose during the course of the game. The player can choose to play without powers. You can tell the outsider you don't want any of his supernatural powers, and you play as a regular person with no special abilities and just the weapons and equipment you have on you, and that's a whole different type of challenge to play.
It's basically two completely different games depending on how you go?
The campaign and the story is the same, so the missions that you'll play through are the same, but they're each fully voiced, so they'll have their own sort of take and approach to what's going on in the world. And then again, because of the powers and the fact that the levels are so open, you know, in any given mission you're going to potentially have multiple people you could side with, or you could decide not to side with any of them. So there's so much sort of player choice and variability that between that plus the characters and the different powers that they have, it's going to make it feel very different when you play through a mission as Corvo and somebody else plays as Emily.
Just from the time span of how long it's been since the original, visually, how are things being pushed in this new game?
Yeah, the big thing visually is that Dishonored 2 features an entirely new engine, basically built from the ground up for Dishonored 2. It's called the Void engine. It's built on id Tech 6, but it's probably 90% of it has been sort of custom built for Dishonored 2, and this idea of Arcane wanting it to feel like a painting that's come to life. So the visual effects, the lighting, all of the stuff that they've done to this game, when you go back and look at the original Dishonored and look at Dishonored 2, it's unbelievable how much more detail that they've been able to add to the game and the game world.
What impact has fan feedback played since the first game and developing the second?
You know, the biggest thing for any developer is getting to see people experience the last thing that they made and how they played the game and the things that they liked and the things they didn't like, and try and push on those things. So, you know, part of it was getting the whole world, all of these people to play the game, allowed them to see how folks approach different situations, what kind of powers or things that they lean to or not, that folks tend to play more stealthy? Did they play high chaos and just sort of kill everything in their path? The creativity and combining powers in ways that hadn't really been attempted before. I think all of that stuff is kind of influenced and built on not only the things that Arcane has added to the game, but also the things that they've tried to improve, fix, and address as they've gone into Dishonored 2.